Formula One's world was turned on its head after the dramatic move by Red Bull in releasing her from any commitment. Come on, this storm has been brewing in the background for long enough now. And the next earth-shattering upheaval is going to become a reality. Max Verstappen to Mercedes. What was once a far-fetched rumor is becoming a closer reality, thanks to a series of tantalizing events. And so here's the question that's been in everyone's mouth. Was Toto Wolff the puppet master from day one? Has he been playing the long game, hovering, waiting, and positioning each piece strategically until the board was his? Because if so, the next question is, who is Verstappen taking the place of at the Brackley-based Leviathan? At the moment, the most explosive, and quite frankly, planet-changing, headline in Formula One is the shock resignation of Christian Horner. But all that's water under the bridge. That incident slammed shut. The real story now. What comes next? And if you're a Red Bull fan, things don't precisely paint a rosy picture. Because Max Verstappen is now more strongly linked than ever to a potential switch to Mercedes, right on the heels of her departure. In fact, just one day before Red Bull dropped the bombshell, Mercedes CEO Ola Kalinius reportedly gave the green light to go all in on bringing Max to the Silver Arrows garage. Let's rewind a bit. Remember the last time this saga made headlines? There was already a verbal understanding between Toto Wolff and Verstappen. The only thing stopping the deal? The Mercedes board's hesitation to sacrifice their homegrown star George Russell, or next-gen prodigy Kimi Antonelli. But when you've got the chance to sign Max Verstappen, a once-in-a-generation talent at the absolute peak of his powers, you don't hesitate. And it looks like Kalinius finally got that memo. And let's not pretend this is just about the Horner controversy. Red Bull is facing an internal storm. The cracks in their armor are no longer subtle, they're obvious. The exits of Adrian Newey, Jonathan Wheatley, Courtney, and Rob Marshall have all taken a toll. And if you've been watching what Marshall and Wheatley have already achieved at McLaren and Sauber, it's clear they were critical to Red Bull's recent dominance. When your team starts crumbling around you, the smartest move is to look outside the bubble. That is precisely what Lewis Hamilton did when Mercedes would not make changes to their car. And after he found out the team had tuned him out, he made a power play to Ferrari. And now, it's Hamilton himself making the same argument. Max needs a new challenge. He's done everything he needed to do at Red Bull. It's time to move forward. Hamilton wasn't reticent himself, beyond the fact that Max didn't do anything wrong. He just did what champions do, win. Of course, I'd support Mercedes. Years ago, I might have thrown some shade at Red Bull, suggesting they were simply a drinks company. But Mercedes? That's a proper team. Passionate people. World-class facility. A winning attitude. And let's be realistic, without Max, Red Bull might be scrapping for midfield points. At best. Their development team, led by Wash and Below, has consistently fallen down on the job to deliver upgrades that give Max confidence. And another reason he might be looking for the door, to an organization that can build a winner car. Need proof? Just look at how Mercedes started the ground effect era, slow, behind, outdeveloped. Instead of panicking, they got better. And now, with us arriving at the giant regulation revamp in 2026, they may be on the brink of a new generation of dominance. So that can just fuel the fire even more. The management team at Max admitted that they knew he would be laid off of his position in Red Bull, but that did not affect them a lot because currently they are searching for performance and aren't keen on team members' background stories. Interestingly though, they refused to declare that this performance would be interpreted only by Red Bull, which means that if they go to Brackley, have a cup of tea with Wolff and Allison, and see Mercedes are going in the right direction, then we'll see another tectonic shift in the grid. When addressing this situation, Verstappen's team said, "We were informed in advance about this decision by Red Bull management. It's up to Red Bull to expand on why they did this. We continue to focus on the sporting side and are looking for more performance so we can return to the top." In that sense, nothing changes. But then again, everything revolves around the latest departure of her. There is one scenario that's true, but only time will tell. Either Red Bull has decided that enough is enough and they need to be listening to Max, or they know that Max is out the window and now that they're going to reconstruct the team, they might as well do it properly. If it's the first one, then Max staying would have an immense effect on everyone in Red Bull in terms of confidence that the tide can be turned around. But the gap that her left is just too big. The man has been part of the team since day one, before Kimi Antonelli was even born. After 20 years, he'll obviously impact a lot of seniors at Red Bull who are willing to follow suit and join another team if the opportunity arises. Or, let me simplify it for you, a rebuild is very likely on its way. If that's the case, then Max doesn't have to look further away than Mercedes. The Silver Arrows will have a very difficult decision on their own because for the first time in a long period of time, they have two highly competitive drivers who could be world champions if given the right opportunity. 3 doesn't fit into 2 and they'd have to get rid of someone. But given the potential of Antelli, that would very likely be Russell. This is yet another controversial decision if it becomes a reality because Mercedes has groomed George since his youth days and put him in charge when Hamilton left the team. So if you're willing to ditch him, you're effectively making it worse for the entire academy that's below your command. But at the end of the day, this is Verstappen we're talking about. The bigger question is whether or not the engine advantage of Mercedes is going to be that big. So Verstappen would say yes, this should be my new home. According to her, it's not as easy as it sounds because 2026 is a big question mark for everyone. Yes, Mercedes on paper is the most dominant engine manufacturer along with Ferrari, but we know for a fact that the engine itself cannot be the only factor that would bring your car to 20 seconds ahead of the second-place challenger to the checkered flag. Elaborating further on this and warning Verstappen about a potential move to their fiercest rivals, her said, "It's the biggest rule change in Formula One, probably in the last 50 years, where both chassis and power unit are being introduced at the same time. Nobody with a heart in their hand can ever be certain what pecking order is going to be. It could be McLaren, or it could be Aston Martin, or perhaps Ferrari. It could be Mercedes. It could be anybody. There is a dreadful lot of subjectiveness about 2026, and it won't be actually this time next year until you'll have a proper notion of what that picking order is. So, things do not bode well for Red Bull because they are entering a period of rebuilding that can be acutely painful and can set fires that cannot be extinguished. One clear indicator of that is the elevation of Laurent Mekies, former team principal of Racing Bulls. If the team believes Max Verstappen is set to depart from Mercedes, they would highly likely push Hadjar to see what he can do once more to Yuki or even drop Tsunoda for a risk-taker's shot and provide the position to Lindblad. Either way, Max was set to head to Mercedes and Red Bull might have to prepare for an awfully difficult time without her. But after every storm comes sunshine. And while this seems to be such a dire setback for the team, this might be going in a whole different direction to everyone's surprise. But let us be realistic here. All this drama could be for securing the internal dynamics within Red Bull. The words of Jos Verstappen still ring in our ears. As long as Christian is in charge, there is no chance that things would be the way they used to be. So, if we could see them out of the team, maybe Verstappen will decide to invest his future in Red Bull and bring life to the team again. What we saw here is that the driver was indeed bigger than the team since the departure of Wheatley, Newey, and Corden did not affect Horner's dominance in Red Bull, but that of losing Verstappen did. Considering all this, what do you think about the rumored transfer of Verstappen to Mercedes? And more precisely, do you believe that Russell is going to be the driver who loses the seat because of this scandal that he honestly has no direct role in? Let us hear your opinions about it in the comments below. And after you do that, please click on the video that your screen now shows.